boosting your immune system naturally. I've taught this talk for many years, but it's never been as prominent or as requested, as relevant as it is right now with the COVID pandemic going on right now. And I want to give you guys some things that you can do to strengthen your internal defenses, not just protective equipment. Those are valuable, but your own body at some point will come in contact with COVID, or if not, most likely other pathogens, other bacteria. And so you want to make sure that your own body, your own defenses and immune system are strong enough and healthy enough to fight that off and continue moving on with your life. Most of you, you're like the rest of us, and you can't take a day off. Taking a day off means not paying the bills, not eating a week. You know what I mean? So you have to work. And obviously those families depend on you. So we're going to dig right in on this issue of boosting your immune system. Your immune system is a phenomenal thing. It's one of 11 systems in your body. It protects you against infection. It kills bacteria, viruses, fungus. It also, this isn't as commonly known, your immune system is also responsible for killing cancer cells. A lot of people don't realize that. This picture that I have right here is a enlarged image of an electron microscope, and that yellow image that you see right there in the front almost looks like a crazy avocado kind of tied down. That is a cancer cell. And that is how it metastasizes. Metastasis is the medical term for spreading of cancer cells. So it has extensions, fibrils they're called, that just permeate through the tissue and just attach on that way. These white cells that you're seeing, those are white blood cells. Those are immune system cells that are going in and doing their job. They're about to engulf this cancer cell, destroy it, and get rid of it. The reality is that all of us, every single one of us right now, have cancer cells within our body. Every single one of us. It's part of cell division. Some cells don't divide properly. It's the job of your immune system to keep that cell division going properly, so that if some cells go rogue and go cancerous, they kill it off. There's cancer cells growing all the time in our bodies, and there's cancer cells being killed all the time in our bodies. It's when your immune system can't keep up with the cancer cell growth and it is not killing the cancer cells that then you start getting tumors and you start getting cancer formation. Probably not a topic that you thought that I was going to get into right now, but the fact of the matter is cancer is one of the top 2 killers in our country, and the CDC estimates that over 600,000 people this year are going to die of cancer. I already have in my personal circle 3 families that have been diagnosed with cancer. 2 of them were breast cancer. It's affecting everyone. It's affecting just about all of us have been touched in our lives by cancer in some way. The fact of the matter is your immune system, you want to boost that up. So this conversation here today is not just so that you don't catch a cold, you don't catch COVID, but it's so that 10, 20, 30 years down the line, you're not getting that diagnosis. We don't want that. All right. There's several problems that we can have with our immune system, and I'm going to show you what we can do with each one to help you in that area. So there's a weak or a not active enough immune system. There's an overactive immune system, and then there's a self-inflicting, or the medical term is an autoimmune immune system. Excuse me. So we're gonna dive into it a little bit. You know that you have a weak immune system. Number 1, if you get sick often. Number 2, if you have digestive issues. The reason for that, I want you to read that in parentheses. 70% of your immune system and your immune system cells are in your digestive tract. I want people to get that. Digestive issues are very common. If you have digestive issues, you very likely have a weakened immune system. You also know you have a weakened immune system if you're tired all the time. Even when you get enough sleep, you probably need help with your immune system. If you have chronic health conditions, if you take certain medications, if you're on chemo or radiation, which kind of tells you there's I don't want to say controversy, but there's an issue there when your immune system has not been able to keep up with your cancer cell growth, allows cancer cells to grow, and then we have chemo and radiation that further lower your immune system. That's why that population that's under cancer treatment is so immunocompromised. So this is another conversation worth having for that group. But by no means am I saying that chemo and radiation are not needed. They are most certainly needed in some cancer cases, but that's the reality. That's some of the side effects with that type of treatment. So that's a weak immune system. An overactive immune system is if your immune system is just hyper. It's just working too much, too strong, too quick, too frequently. If you have chronic allergies, that means that your immune system is being exposed to something called antigens. Antigens are just basically fragments of whatever you're exposed to. For some people, it's fragments of pet dander, fragments of pollen, fragments of certain foods, perfumes, whatever it is. Antigens, your body is being exposed to them and it's perceiving it as an infectious invader. And so it's mounting an immune response against it. But it's just regular stuff. So your body is just constantly under immune war. It's just constantly under attack and it wears you out. You're tired all the time. You have the runny nose, you have the sinuses. Another sign of an overactive immune system are things like asthma and eczema. There's just too much of an immune response, and that immune response creates inflammation within the bronchioles of your lungs, creating difficulty breathing. Eczema, same thing. It's an overactive immune system with regard to the skin. I'm going to give you some recommendations for eczema as well. I may have given it to you last week, but I'd like to share it because my daughters have my one out of my 3 daughters have eczema, and we do some things to help her with that. So that's an overactive immune system. Self-inflicting immune system. These are conditions that are autoimmune. Your body is attacking itself. An overactive immune system is over responding to common outside antigens. A self-inflicting immune system is responding to your own cells and proteins and your own body and perceiving it to be an infectious invader. Ultimately, it doesn't recognize your own body. So it starts attacking your joints and causes RA, multiple sclerosis. It starts attacking certain pathways within your brain. Celiac disease, that's an issue with the gut. Again, chronic fatigue syndrome, lupus. These are all conditions. There's plenty of autoimmune conditions. These are some of the more common ones. This tells you that you need some attention to your immune system, not just suppressing it like they put people on immunosuppressors, but then now you have a weak immune system. And now what you want is to regulate. And I'm going to give you some things at the end of this to regulate your immune system so that it's not too high or too low. You want it perfectly regulated. Okay, this is what I have for people. What I want you guys to realize, if you guys remember in the previous discussions that we've had, is that your body is what controls your nervous system is what controls every single function of your body. You've probably heard me say this several times, but I can't say it enough because it's something that is not stated enough in our typical healthcare world in our country. The brain, we all know, produces nerve signals that it sends down the spinal cord. And from the spinal cord, it exits all of these spinal nerves and goes to every single cell of your body. I'm getting somewhere with this. So your ability to see me, hear me, you're regulating your hormone balance, blood pressure, you're digesting your food, all of that's happening without you even having to actively think about it, because your body has an innate ability to heal, function, and operate on its own. And that's what we need people to understand more than ever before, that true health comes from within. It comes from how your body is operating. But the way that our medical establishment has gone, it's like the more medicine that you take, the healthier you are. I mean, how many people actually think that, hey, I'm on 10 medications, I'm one more medication away from perfect health? No one thinks that. But we've been trained to think this way by the medical establishment because Sadly, sick people is money. They want us to buy their medicine and pay for their surgery. They understand that it's a lot cheaper and much more effective and safer to make life-altering lifestyle changes that will create an overall better functioning body. Because real health doesn't come from a bottle, it comes from within. So this is what I'm talking about here. So realizing that your nervous system is what controls every single function of your body. So in this graph, I want you guys to look at the screen here now. Right here in this organ, in this area, this graph doesn't show it, but there's an organ that is right here within the neck called the thymus. And nerves that come out of the base of the neck go to the thymus. Just like you see kind of some from down here and up here in the upper back, they give branches that go to the heart. They give branches of nerves that go to the lungs. So people that have issues in their spine in the upper back, sometimes they have that hump right here. It's creating nerve pressure that affects how these organs operate. So we're going to dig into that a little bit more. But I want to highlight the thymus. This is not an organ that a lot of people hear about or talk about. It's a very important organ within your immune system. The thymus produces T killer cells and T helper cells. They're responsible for killing bacteria and remembering them so that when you're exposed to them in the future, it can help you attack them. Okay, that's the thymus. And it gets its nerve supply from the nerves that come out of the base of the neck and the upper back. I want you to remember that. The bowels, we talked about that 70% of your immune system is anchored in your bowels, in your digestive system. 8 out of 10 people with low back pain have digestive issues. Why is that? Because the nerves, if you're looking at the graph here, the nerves that come out of your low back and feed your intestines, your small and large intestines, they come out of your low back. If you're having low back problems, it's going to pinch those nerves and limit nerve supply feeding those organs. So your posture and the condition of your spine has a direct impact on your immune system. These two organs are very important in how your immune system operates. But you saw the picture. That's how most of us find ourselves these days. Especially nowadays, we're working from home. We're sitting on the couch with a laptop on our lap, or we have some type of makeshift workstation at home or at work. This posture right here, where her head is just hanging forward, it creates a ton of pressure right here. If you're looking at the screen, it creates a lot of pressure right here at the base of the skull, at the base of the head rather. A lot of people, especially women, will get a hump right here, and that tells us that there's been long-term postural issues, and it has a direct impact on your ability to fight off infection, to stay healthy and get healthy. I want you guys to see that. Same thing with the low back. If I could show in an X-ray, and I think I actually have one here. I'm going to show on the next slide, but her spine and her low back is really rounded over. That's going to create low back problems and affect her bowels, her digestion, and her immune system. And the reason for that is that there are subluxations that occur in our bodies where bones come misaligned, and those misalignments pinch those nerves and limit nerve supply to vital organs. Those subluxations occur from anything in life. It can be from habitual, it can be postural, from us sitting in front of a computer, it can be from a bad pillow, poor sleeping position, it can be bad, it can be past accidents, falls that we've had, car accidents, injuries that we've had that create long-term subluxation. Subluxation is the term for when a bone comes out of place. And when that happens, it creates this type of effect right here. When we pinch a water hose, less water comes out. It's just physics. It's the same exact concept with the body, with the spine. Bone comes out of place, pinches the nerve, less nerve flow to vital organs. That's why we've known since the 1970s that a hunched over posture like this, if you're looking at me from the side, takes up to it takes up to 15 years off of our lifespan because of the limited nerve supply to vital organs. With regard to the immune system, we have found, I think NYU it was that did a study about 12 years ago that found that when you adjust the mid-back right here, like I was showing you guys right here, it boosts the immune system by 200% because it's improving nerve supply to your lungs and to your thymus, okay? But this is the reality of most people. This is a good normal posture. Thank you, Lakeisha. I see you adjusting yourself. Good posture. Good posture. This is typically around the time where folks will try to sit up and pretend like they've been sitting that way from the beginning the whole time. But posture's good. Posture's good. I'm glad that you're thinking about it. Posture is important. You have to think about it. People think of posture as just kind of how you present yourself. I get a little neck tension, but your posture has a direct connection on your overall health. And this is the mechanism by which that happens. This x-ray that I have right here is of a normal, healthy neck from the side view. You see a nice C-shaped curve. That allows for open pathways where the nerves come out of so that nerve supply comes out freely. This is an example of a person that comes into the office with neck problems. This type of neck, which you're going to see here, in this x-ray on the right-hand side, this green line shows where the curve should be. So that's a good healthy curve. The red lines show where this person is right now at that moment. So this is a curve reversal. That's going to pinch the spinal cord and nerves and limit nerve supply to vital organs. So this type of presentation in the neck will cause neck pain, headaches, what I call head symptoms, so anxiety, insomnia, ringing in the ears, dizziness. It can also cause high blood pressure, numbness and tingling into the hands, shoulder tension. So these are some of the things, in addition to some of the systemic issues. Low immune system, like we talked about, asthma, things like that. So this is that type of presentation that in people will cause different systemic effects. And these are things, guys, hear me? These are things that we've known since the 1970s. This isn't something that we just developed over the last couple of years. We've known this for a long time, but sadly, it's not taught enough from our medical communities. The fact that your body has an innate ability to heal itself, to operate, to function properly on its own. What we need to do is establish proper brain-body communication. So this is just a few of the little bit of research, of the tons of research that we have. This is just a few pieces. In 1974, Dr. Reich found decreased blood flow from abnormal posture. And it's a major factor in all disease, including cancer, in abnormal posture. Dr. Calliot found that decreased curves like this neck that you're seeing here to the right and spinal position, they affect the heart, they affect the lungs, they affect the digestive system. That's why so many times when I fix people's backs, their constipation clears up, but they start dropping weight. 5, 10, 15 pounds I've had just because your body is finally starting to absorb the good, healthy food that you're eating. That happens to a lot of people. They're dieting, they are doing all of the right things, but they don't drop weight because there's some digestive issues there. Dr. Kaur found in 1979 that a bad posture, faulty posture, caused weak immune system, organ disease, muscle tension, and increased sensitivity to pain. We know that. We know poor posture creates pain, headaches, tension, low back issues, but this is some of the research that shows us that bad posture weakens our immune system, and this is what we need now more than ever. I am a believer. Man, I remember one time, this was a few months ago, I went into a gas station and there was a woman that was really concerned about exposure. She had her mask, gloves, and wiping everything down before and after she touched it. And there's value in that. But as she's walking away, guess what's in her bag? 2 cartons, not little box, cartons of cigarettes. Blown away. I'm blown away. Your lungs are a major part of your immune system. And guess what? I think we all know by now, COVID is primarily affecting your lungs. Super concerned with the gloves and the mask and the sanitation. There's value in that. Hear me clearly. There's value in that. But she's totally sabotaging her body's own ability to come across infections. I think through all of this, we've gotten this mindset that we can't be exposed to germs because then we'll get sick. Germs are everywhere around us, everywhere. What you need primarily is a strong, healthy immune system to defend you against those infections. Okay. So those are some of the things. What I want you guys to get, because, and the reason I'm spending time on this is because what I'm going to show you guys after this right now, you've probably heard it before. You'll probably hear it in some other way. This is something that you're not going to hear very often. So I want you to get that proper structure equals proper function. A good, healthy spine is a good, healthy you. All right. So at the end, I'm going to help you guys, if you want some help with that, to come into the office just to get an exam. No obligation, no pressure, but I want you guys to just have that ability to come into the office if that's something that you're needing, if you're missing in your life. Okay. Now, when it comes to the immune system, once you have proper brain-body communication like we're talking, there are other things that you can do. Food will either fuel or starve your immune system. Okay, these are one of the things. This is probably my first recommendation to people. Sugar kills your immune system, guys. Sugar totally tanks your immune system, but most of us are exposed to it every day because they hide it in everything. It's in obvious places such as donuts and candy and all of these sugary beverages, but it's also in breads and pastas, rice. They also sneak it into any sauces, ketchup. They sneak sugar into almost every part of your diet. And what you're going to find is when you have a high sugar day, if I can put it that way, you start getting that tickle in the back of your throat. You start feeling like you're coming down with something. That's not an occasion where you've been exposed to something. That's really more of an occasion where your immune system has tanked. And so these bacteria that you're exposed to every day, they start taking advantage and they start becoming opportunistic. So you guys want to take time to not only protect your exposure, but also increase the function of your immune system. And one of the ways that you do that is by limiting your sugar intake. If I were Oprah, I'd get a mug and I'd send this all to you guys right now. If I were Ellen DeGeneres, I'd send you guys all a mug right now. No sugar, please. I am sweet enough. You all are sweet, sweet people. You don't need any more sugar. You're the sweetest people in the world. Other things that you can do. Some of the things that we've talked about in the past already, I won't spend a lot of time on it, but you have to reduce inflammation. When you hear about some of the things, not just COVID, but respiratory infections, RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, pneumonia, all of these things, bronchitis, we're talking about inflammation in the lungs. So if you want to keep from getting sick or get better faster, you want to reduce inflammation in your body. Studies for years now have shown that the common denominator amongst all of the common chronic conditions that we endure in our world today, the common denominator is inflammation. Reduce inflammation by reducing sugar, eat more veggies, eat more healthy fat, and drink more water. All right, a couple of supplements here. I'm going to pull out for just a second. I want to make sure that, let's see if there's I see some in the, that's right. Wanda said it right. You got to sit up. Now you know. And what I love about that is that there's been so many times in my life where science today backed up the suggestions, the things that my parents told me on early on in life. Has anybody else had that experience where your parents told you to do something and it seemed crazy and the science proved your parents right? This is one of those moments. I actually had my dad, when it comes to posture, he would tell me when I would slouch, "You're never going to get a girl that way." He would hit me in the back and say, "You're never going to get a girl that way." And that was a challenge for me because between 8th and 9th grade, I went from this short, chubby kid to this tall, thin kid. And that happens a lot in teenagers, especially boys. When they grow really fast, their muscles, their frame doesn't know what to do at the height, so they slouch a lot. But posture is really important. Vera must win Starbucks, so we're gonna hope that she wins here momentarily. All right, so these down here are just some of the supplements. There's a ton of supplements that you can take to boost your immune system. These are three of the, in my opinion, the best ones. Vitamin D is huge. Vitamin D is huge because it's an immunoregulator. So this is what I was talking about at the top of at the beginning of this, and that is that vitamin D is an immunoregulator. So if you have a self-inflicting immune system, if you have an overactive immune system, or if you have an under or weakened immune system, and vitamin D will help to get your immune system right where you're at. Whatever you need, that's what it's going to help you with. Vitamin D, we're in Florida, the best and easiest source is sunlight, but it has to be on the skin, not just like on the face, but arms and legs exposed. And even then, we don't spend enough time in the sun to really get all of the vitamin D that we need. So I recommend for people 5,000 IUs of vitamin D just as a maintenance, just through a supplement. If you find that you have issues with your immune system like this, you probably need to be taking 10,000 IUs. That number sounds like a lot, but trust me, it's not a lot. It comes out to like 1 or 2 micrograms, very, very small. So I don't want you to be concerned about that. It's really, 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 really hard to overdose on vitamin D, and it hasn't happened. So with the next one is glutathione. Glutathione is an antioxidant that helps with DNA repair. So as our cells divide over years and decades, and we're getting older, our DNA start just becoming damaged, and that's what results in some of these signs of aging that we see. So our skin gets wrinkly, we start seeing spots, our hair falls out, our hair changes color. All of those signs that we see that with aging, that's DNA damage. And so glutathione is great for DNA repair, for one, for those signs of aging, but secondly, to keep your immune system strong as you get older. We know that the older that you get, your immune system becomes more and more compromised, and that elderly population is more at risk. So that's something that will help tremendously. Turmeric is another supplement that I like to use for inflammation. It's highly anti-inflammatory, and I recommend it for so many things, for cardiovascular issues, for immune system problems, digestive issues, joint pain, knee pain, spine pain, things like that. So turmeric is very useful. You can cook with it, but really to get enough of a therapeutic dose, you want to take it in supplement form. Okay. You guys with me so far? Everything good? Any questions? I don't see anything in the chat box, so I'm gonna keep going. All right. So exercising is another way that we can boost our immune system. It strengthens your cardiovascular system. Your immune system is basically an army. And when there's an infection, it sends white blood cells and other immune system cells to that site of infection to handle the problem. And it sends immune system cells through your circulation, through your blood flow. So if you have poor circulation, poor blood flow, if you have a weak cardiovascular system, you by default will have a weak immune system because your immune system cells can't get to the site of infection. So that's why people that have poor circulation are more likely to get sick. So cardiovascular exercise will help with that. It improves circulation. It also strengthens the lungs. Again, the lungs are very commonly affected by this current pandemic that we have right now. So it strengthens the lungs. Cardiovascular exercise, we talked about it last week. Doing that program that we talked about will achieve this increase in your immune system function. So you can do that, and that'll be great. You'll be safe with that. I like this. It says, "Doctor, can you prescribe me something for sleepwalking?" And he says, "No, you need the exercise." I love it because the doctor gets it. He gets the urgency. You got to get exercise at whatever cost. If you got to get up 20, 30 minutes earlier to get it done, get it done. If you have to if you can manage it during the work day and take a break, that's fine. But exercise, you want it to be a part of your everyday life. And these are just some healthy habits to get into the routine of doing. We all have healthy habits with we brush our teeth, we brush our hair, basic maintenance things, but you want to start building healthy habits for your own personal health. Getting plenty of rest, which we're going to talk about, exercise, nutrition, good positive thinking, mental attitude, your spine, making sure that you have good brain-body communication. Those are all healthy habits that you can just systematize. You don't even have to think about it to make sure that you're not only healthy now, you and your family, but 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line to make sure that you have all of the health that you need and not having to struggle with some of these long-term health challenges. All right, and then this is the last one, is rest. A lot of times we don't get the rest that we need. Our immune system can't rest. It's that simple. So I talked a little bit about it, I think last week, with regard to meal timing. So to get better rest, you want to limit your screen time at least 1 hour before bed, and that's because the light that your eyes are exposed to limits melatonin release. Melatonin works inversely with light exposure. So when light is not present, when it's dark, that is the trigger for your brain to release melatonin and induces sleep throughout the body. So when light is present, you have a light right there in your face, it's not releasing melatonin. It's hard for people to go to sleep. Okay. Last meal, you want it to be 3 hours before bedtime. And that's so that your circulation, your blood flow can focus on going throughout your body and healing and recovering from the day instead of having to digest a heavy meal. Secondly, I would say, thirdly, I would say get used to going to sleep earlier. That's a big one for most people. You go home and you're like, I'm going to sleep early tonight. Tonight's the night. I'm going to sleep early tonight. And then, you get everything done. You get the kids in bed. You're washed up. You're ready to go by 9:30 and you wanted to be in bed by 10. And you say, let me just put on a little Netflix. Let me just watch a little show. Let me see just what's going on in the news, media. And the next thing you know, it's 12:30. You're like, I did it again. So what I have found for patients, and me personally, I'm talking about me personally too, for a lot of people, the biggest obstacle for going to sleep is just that you're not used to going to sleep early. You see 9 o'clock, you see 10 o'clock, and you think, I got time. It's early. And then you end up going to sleep at 11 or 12. So if you're wanting 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, what I do is I work backwards. If I want to wake up at a certain time, so I have enough time to get ready, work out, whatever. If I want to wake up at 5 and I want to get 7 hours of sleep, then I need to be in bed by 10. All right, so what has to happen in the evening for me to be in bed by 10? I need to be done with everything by 9 o'clock. Come 9 o'clock, I need to be like winding down, wrapping everything up so that by 10 o'clock I'm in bed. So you want to start thinking that way. What is it going to take? What would it look like in your house if you went to sleep at 10 or 11 or whatever that time is for you? So screen time, limiting that screen time, limiting those midnight snacks, and then just getting used to going to sleep earlier. I love this. Some people can't sleep because they have insomnia. I can't sleep because I have internet. And that's the cause. I'm seeing a lot of smiles through here, so I think I'm talking to the right crowd with this. So this will help tremendously. At least I hope. So again, overall, boosting your immune system. I wanted to keep this as condensed as possible so you guys can get back to your work and your jobs. But again, establishing brain-body communication, because that is what's controlling every function, including your nervous system. So you want to make sure that you're healthy and you internally have a strong, healthy immune system. Nutrition, that's part of it. Reduce inflammation, immune boosting supplements like we talked about, the vitamin D, glutathione, turmeric, exercising regularly, sleeping, chronic stress. If you're chronically stressed, I know no one here is chronically stressed because we did that talk already and it fixed all your stress, right? All right. I just wanted to see a couple of smiles. But keep working on those stress management tactics. Sleep will help you manage that. And these are 4 of the 5 healthy habits that I teach here in the office: brain-body communication, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and good positive mental attitude is what is the 5th one that I would add here if I was talking to you about just good healthy habits. You guys have a lot that you manage. You have meetings, you have deadlines, you have all of this stuff, plus your own personal responsibilities in your household. So for me to throw at you, hey, 5 more things to keep track of, you're never going to do it. You're not going to do it. So you want to systematize these things as best as possible so that you do it without you even thinking about it. It just gets done, and you're taking the time and the effort now to invest in you and in your health, because If you don't, then who will? If you don't invest in your health now, you're going to have to invest in your health, a couple of years down the road when you have a health emergency and you have to cash out 40, 50, 6 digits sometimes for some of the cost of these medications and procedures nowadays. So it's better to, what I call, finance your health now instead of having to pay a big ticket later on down the road. All right. At this point, ultimately, this is what I'm talking about: taking control of your own health. Your health is your greatest asset.